And they're like, here, what you were spending it on. And it's like, okay, what was it? Internet. It's like, well, what else is what is data if not the internet? It makes no sense, you know. So it was a really weird argument. But yeah, especially in like the States, if you have limited internet, you know, and it's just there's no way you're gonna be able to yeah, they're gonna have to change infrastructure.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I remember Verizon. We had unlimited internet when I was living 20 years ago in Massachusetts, but it still had that, like you mentioned about your friend, fair use policy as well. It's like Verizon, like, okay, you're a terrible bandwidth user. We're gonna make you pay more money or slow down your internet or something like that.
Yeah, that was the whole net neutrality thing with the where they could throttle
Yeah,
thing, you know, certain things, right? So Microsoft could make a deal with or Sony could make a deal with one internet provider, and if you're using, you know, so if you're a Sony person, you need to get this internet provider because they'll throttle Microsoft but not Sony. But if you're using Microsoft, you should get this internet provider because they'll throttle Sony but not Microsoft because they have deals with people, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, I think streaming's the future, but doesn't mean I have to like it. They're good things and bad things, so. But
all right, let's
it's the
squeeze in
future.
another story, Mr. Gray.
All right, we can squeeze in the Netflix one since we're getting close to time, and I know you kind of wanted to talk about
No,
that
no, no,
one.
no. You choose something for yourself, and
Do
I've got.
something
I
for
think I
myself.
can.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I can squeeze in something else as well.
All right.
I want to do a hardware-related story.
All right. Let's see. Okay, let's do this one. A bunch of old Sonic games will be delisted when the $40 remaster collection releases. I was a big fan of Sonic in the day, but
The
this
number
has
one
been
or
kind of a fun one.
best-selling video game movie ever, something along those lines. I remember the headline was it
Really?
released with the best opening weekend, $72 million for Sonic 2 for any video game ever.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
But okay, and then yeah, of course it's Sony. Sony is planning to delist the digital versions of the games included in the remaster of the Sonic Origins collections that cover Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. Great delistings of these games will happen on May 20th, a month before Sonic Origins is released. If you already own digital copies, you'll still be able to play them, but they will no longer be able to buy on Steam and the Xbox Store. Okay. So the exception will be the Nintendo Switch version of Sonic 1 and 2, which will remain available. So yeah, so oh, here we go. Closing all these things. Cancel. What's this?
PC gamer.
I know. But yeah, so this seems to be what they're doing is, and this is a common thing. They did this with what was it, Resonance of Fate or something, where they delisted it and you couldn't buy it anymore, and then immediately came out with the remastered version of a little while later. But yeah, I always have kind of a weird feeling on this game. Obviously, I don't want them to delist games and say we can never play these games again, but yeah, I don't know. It is, and I kind of understand the idea is if we have two versions of the same thing, then why, you know, we're splitting the profits between them. On paper, I like the idea, you know, especially if they're saying like, okay, each one of these costs the same amount, and we're going to release a bundle version, and it's going to cost the same amount as each individual one. You know, I get the idea of delisting to avoid confusion, but yeah, I don't know. I always feel weird when they say like, oh, okay, we're gonna take this off, and we're gonna put on the new version, and now you have to get the new version. That always kind of makes me kind of, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. Even though there's fundamentally nothing wrong with it, I just don't like the idea of like, you know, oh, we gave you this option before and now you don't have it anymore.
I figured like when you clicked on the story, I was like, why is Adam clicking this? This is kind of like a given for gaming industry, but I understand. Yeah, for me, I guess the rationale I think companies have is that consumers are becoming stupid.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to be confused by choices. What should I buy? Which is the best one? Like especially, I found that a lot with the last like 3 to 4 years. When games have like numerous amounts of DLC, like what version of this game should I buy? Should I buy this deluxe edition or super premium duper deluxe edition, or like a game like Rainbow Six Siege has like 15, 16 characters. Oh, a lot of the Warhammer games have this. They have this pack and that pack and this thing, and it's like, what do I buy? And so delisting sort of like, okay, you just buy this. This has everything included. Like the Skyrim, the latest version of Skyrim that came out this year, right? Where I had the legendary edition or something, whatever the version was before that, not the original version. That and now they're like, okay, now you can't buy that version. You got to buy this version now. That is the only version of Skyrim you should be buying. I think it's fine. It's I kind of agree with you that you should let consumers buy what they want, but at the same time, I can imagine getting messages from like old students or friends or people just getting into gaming like, hey, I want to buy Sonic. There's 26 different Sonics on the Steam store. Which one do I buy? I'm like, yeah, you buy the one that you want, which is the one that I want.
Yeah, and here this the digital delisting is doubly irritating because these original games only cost around $5 each, and even the cheapest version of Sonic Origins will run you $40. So
Jesus
you
Christ.
have to buy it in a pack. You can't buy them individually. Which okay, and this to me is a little bit irritating because I understand the idea. You know, it's like, well, just buy them all. You're spending the same amount of money, maybe even saving. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But there have been times where I'll buy a game, especially like if, for instance, if you buy a game and it has DLC, and then later on they say, okay, well now we're gonna give you the Ultimate Edition that has all the DLC included, but we're gonna delist all the DLC because now you can just buy it full. But the thing is if I've already bought half the DLC, you know, and I only want to buy the other half later, I can't do that. I have to buy the full game, you know. So it's yeah, like in this one, if you've already bought, say, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and you just want Sonic Knuckles and you don't want Sonic CD, too bad. You have to buy the whole thing for $40. You can't just spend $5 and get that one last piece you're missing.
You made a good point as well. Like I remember now, like people who bought the original Skyrim and they want to buy the DLC can't do so anymore because the DLC is only compatible with the latest version of Skyrim.
Yeah.
So like that is another like point that sucks. And the price point is a really good point as well. It's like why if you just want one version in a bundle, why do you have to buy the whole bundle? Why don't you just buy this one single game?
Yeah. And I mean, there's something, I understand the idea where you say, okay, we have a remastered version. Why keep the older version around? Let's just have the remastered version. But sometimes, you know, they do update things. You know, there might be certain things that have changed since the original, between the original and the updated version. You know, that for whatever reason. I mean, it's an extreme version, but imagine if they did this with, say, Final Fantasy VII, where they're like, well, we have the remake version. It looks better. Let's just delist the original. You know, once the full version comes out. Like right now, you can't get the full game. You can only get the first part. But imagine if they did that, right? And I mean, granted, in some of these cases, it's just a few HD texture updates, but you know, sometimes these original games had kind of funny little glitches and stuff that have been patched out in later versions. And you know, for example, if you got the Shadow of the Colossus remaster, I can't think of anything specifically in there, but you know, since it is a it's not even a remaster, it's a remake. You know, some things that you were used to in the original one might not have been carried over because they kind of rebuilt it from the ground up. So maybe some funny little things in there, or a certain way that you like to do things were kind of not noticed. So yeah, I always feel kind of weird when they're like, we're going to delist stuff, because it's one of those things where on paper it seems like, oh yeah, it's fine. You're just getting the same thing, but you're getting a better version of it. But usually when I start looking more into detail, I start noticing like, oh no, there's more to it than that. You're losing something.
Yes. I agree with you. It is unfortunate. I think that is another trend in gaming, sort of remastering, sort of conglomerating stuff into one bundle, making things easier, but it's sort of painting everything with a brush and a white swath is what the saying is.
Mm.
All right, my very quick story is going to be about from Popular Mechanics. It is, what was the actual story, which is a good point. It says best TV and gaming gadgets. Popular Mechanics 7 hours ago. I can also paste the link here.
All right.
No problem.
Okay. You can start talking.
Sure. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. So I mean, basically, like I think it's summer, right? Maybe a lot of people want to go out, but maybe some people want to stay in. COVID is spreading again in the States and a few other countries. So if you look at this, right, there are going to be 11 pictures. The first one is the fire TV Cube streaming box. Well, you're thinking this is a streaming box for just TV, but this is actually is like a little bit of a Android system inside, so you can play Android games. You know, Amazon has their own Android store inside. Right? They have their own Android app store. So this is something you can connect to your big TV. If you don't have money to buy a Switch or an Xbox or a PlayStation, right? This could be an easy option to play games on your 50-inch or 40-inch TV. Something for your kid who's done really well in school, or something for yourself maybe. Um, Number two is the 65-inch 8K TV. Now, this is, of course, definitely not affordable. You can see the price here, $1,800 US, but this is 8K. A thing to keep in mind as well. Like, I don't know why magazines suggest stuff like this. Is most PCs don't have the power to do 8K content. My PC doesn't. I'm pretty sure Adam's doesn't. The PlayStation, I thought the PS5 could drive 8K content though.
It can, but there's currently only one game that does it, and it's one of those things where it's like it can theoretically do 8K, but I mean, what kind of a game? You're gonna have to make sacrifices on things. The game that does it kind of uses Minecraft-ish graphics to achieve it.
Okay.
So
I know Fortnite has 8K textures, but you like for a PC you need a $1,200 graphics card for that. So that's it. But I mean, this is something I would even suggest for you to buy now, because there is not a lot of content. It is a fantastic TV, right? This is a mini LED. So whereas like you have OLED or LED TVs right at the moment, where it's just one LED each pixels, and the mini LED has 3 or 4 LEDs. I don't remember how many. So it has much more.
Should be 1 red, 2 greens, and 1 blue, right?
Fantastic. So this is why Adam is on the podcast.
Or is it 2 reds and 1 green?
I have no idea. I just remember
green.
it's more vibrant. New iPads will have them. Your iPhone 13 will have them. Good for your eyes. If you're one of those people like my partner Zona, she has headaches from looking at screens. New iPads, new computer monitors as well. If you're working in front of a computer long, this sort of technology sort of reduces eye strain or headaches that are associated with that sort of stuff. So I'm going to skip a bunch of these because I don't want to spend too much time. So I'm going to look at number 10, the Infinity Game Table, which I thought was pretty cool because we know Phil loves board games. I love board games. There's still been my goal to play board games with Adam one day when we're not going to kill each other with COVID or something like that. So it's like, again, not cheap. It's expensive. Yeah. I mean, almost 30,000 Taiwanese dollars. But if you're big into board games, like this is like the perfect tool where you get to play something really cool, really fun, and everyone gets to sit around the table and have that experience. And I kind of like it. And then let's look at number 11. Number 11, of course, the Switch OLED version. If you don't have a Switch, definitely the version. I mean, it's the only version you can buy at the moment. You can buy the original version, the one I have, which is cheaper and it's fine. But again, OLED, vibrant colors, really good for handheld mode as well. I mean, the only difference with this Switch is that just the OLED makes the difference. And people have said it's awesome. It's nice.
It also has the built-in Ethernet port, right?
Yes, exactly as well. So you're not if you're in a bad location or if you're in a Taiwanese style apartment and far away from your router, Ethernet can be pretty good. That's it. I mean, any thoughts about any of those pictures, Adam?
I find the Infinity Game Table kind of interesting, but at the same time, I have mixed feelings on it. I like the idea. I think it's really cool, especially because you could do the classic games. I think this would be a really interesting thing for people who are big into D&D, because you could just pop up D&D maps on it just right there.
Yes.
If you could design your own maps, say, on a PC and then just load them up. I think that'd be really, really cool. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, at that price, if you're playing a game like Monopoly, you could do that on a tablet, So it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of a weird niche thing where it's it's really cool, but in no way necessary.
No, it's really meant for really, somewhat hardcore board gamers.
Yeah, I feel like this is more of a conversation piece than an actual useful piece of tech. But it is cool. I like the idea.
I would have loved to get it, then I realized I would never have time to use it. So it's definitely like people who do, like I always hear again on podcasts, like people who do like weekly board gaming day, like nights or
Yeah.
evenings in the States as well. And their friends come over and they have like an iPad which has the hybrid app where you're playing the board game and the iPad does stuff and plays music and things. So it's definitely more for that kind of people.
Yeah, no, I definitely see. If I had kids, I feel like this would be a really cool thing because you don't have to keep a bunch of board games on the shelf. You can just pop this out, pick whatever game you want to play, and you can play. And it is, but I mean, and looking here, it's actually only 32 inches, which I feel like is actually kind of small. I mean, is that the standard board game size?
I mean, like I've played board games with like 5 or 6 people on a 13-inch iPad. 32 inches would be freaking awesome. Like 32 inches is a bit bigger than my monitor. You'd have
Actually, yeah, my
enough
monitor is
space for
22
two or
inches. So now that I'm
six.
thinking about it, 30. That's probably, yeah, that's probably standard board game size. So that's a good size, actually. Now that I think about it, the only thing to me that was seems kind of odd because you were like, oh, you can play on game, you can play online with other people, and I'm like, if I'm playing online with other people, though, like, how's it? Is it really significantly that different than a tablet? I don't know, like, because all your pieces are going to be on the screen as well. But yeah,
Some
in
people
like a
might like
family
the
setting, I think this would be
size.
amazing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if I had kids, I might even at that price, I might be like, you know what, this actually might be pretty cool. It has over 60 classic board games, but it does it say that you can download? Oh no, yeah, you can download more titles. So actually, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that would be like a fun thing for getting like a family Christmas present or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So next week, right, for everybody, we were supposed to talk about historical games next this week, but Antoine couldn't make it because he's sick. So possibly next week, we have to see if Antoine's not going to make it, then maybe Adam can choose a topic for the two of us for next week.
So you want me to list off a topic now, or?
Up to you if you have any ideas.
I had a topic in mind. I mean, seeing with the seeing all these reviews on what was it, Elden Ring, and it kept getting all these perfect scores. And now that we're a month into it or something, I'm starting to see a lot more people complaining about it and being like, you know what, this game is not a 10 out of 10. It's like an 8 out of 10 or a 9.5 out of ten or a 7 out of 10. So now people are coming back. I thought it would be kind of interesting to take a look at the way just kind of the culture of reviews, critic reviews versus user reviews, kind of the culture of review bombing and on both sides, just boosting something up or tearing something down. So just kind of the whole thing around, and then how do we look at reviews? Like sometimes I see people now, they'll say like, oh, this game's a 7, it's terrible. And other people are like, since when is 7 out of 10 a bad score? Um, that like 5 is like this game is meh. That's like the bare average. 7 is above average. So seeing how people kind of do that. So I thought that would be kind of an interesting topic of discussion, looking at.
That's really cool. I like it as well, and the idea. I mean, because I used to look at reviews more often, but not so much anymore. So I think it'd be cool to talk about for next week. Very
If
cool. And
Antoine's not back
if Antoine's and even if Antoine is back, then this topic will be in two
next
weeks.
week.
Yes, next week. Exactly. So before we end off, let's. I do want to do this because Adam did remind me last week, and I had totally forgot. So please do check out our Starfield video. Please check out our YouTube shorts. So if you do have the YouTube app, there's a button on your app if you updated your phone recently, shorts, and you'll flick through it. If you're already subscribed to the Mac channel, it should come up. Even if you're not, you might actually pop it up and just hit the thumbs up button, right? Even if you don't like it, we'd love a thumbs up. That sort of boosts things in the algorithm as well. Subscribe to us on socials, right? We are putting up the podcast regularly every week. We're back to that. We're on to TikTok once a week. We're on to our Instagram account once a week. So please do check those things out as well. Um, Again, we're still trying to improve distribution. So like, subscribe, hit the notification icon. I never realized why YouTubers say the notification icon as well, because I guess that also factors into the algorithm that YouTube says basically, if you're not hitting the notification icon, that means you just don't really like the content, something along those lines. So we would like that as well. Please share our content. Even if you just like it a little bit, right? We would love to get more subscribers, more people, more eyes on. We are getting better about titles and stuff. So, well, that's really cool. So, yeah, that is it. Adam, any final thoughts before we go?
No, that's about it for me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate your time. If you're watching from the East Coast in the States, if you're here in Taiwan, um, and we'll talk to you guys next week for another podcast.
All right. See you guys soon. Bye.